Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, 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 everybody. You know what time it is. It is time for Ask an Agent. Yes. It's your girl, Nicole, and we are back with another episode of, you guessed it, Ask an Agent. And I am super excited about today's guest. I have been getting inbox left and right since we started this series, asking questions about credit. When are you going to talk about credit, Nicole? When are you going to give us some info about credit? So I am like super excited. I have a credit expert coming on, and she is top notch. So as soon as I see that notification, I'm going to bring her on camera and we'll get started. But in the meantime, like I said, these lives do not work unless you've got questions. So feel free to drop your questions down in the chat box. It is okay. We will see them and we will answer your questions. If we run out of time, this is only an hour-long show, but if we run out of time, we will definitely take the time to ask you to inbox us those questions if, like I said, we run out of time. So I'm going to go ahead here and I am going to request my guest so that I can bring her on camera and we can get started. Like I said, we do this every week. I took last week off. You guys probably didn't even realize I took last week off because I had been doing 2 a week and I was like, whew, I need a break. But I want to thank you for joining us. Like I said, as soon as my guest credit expert pops up, we will begin with our Q&A session. And again, this does not work, people, unless you're putting your questions in the chat. So you can go ahead and start dropping those questions in there so that way we can go ahead and get started here. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to kick y'all off. Let's see here. I might have to, this is not, it is not giving me what is that I want. And I'm like, I'm going to have to start my intro all over again. So just bear with me. I appreciate y'all tuning in every week too. You guys give me life, hunty, life. Speaking of life, y'all like this hairstyle? This is my Antigua hairstyle. Okay, I've been working out hard, and it's going to be a minute before I can get to the hairstylist, so got to twist that out, making it work. Let's see. I'm not seeing the pop-up. Just bear with me. Thank you for hanging in there. I appreciate y'all. Like, we've been doing this week after week. I don't know why it ain't working right tonight. Let's see. Don't worry. As soon as she pops up, I can bring her on. She hasn't popped up yet. Because y'all know I could just talk about this on my own. I really don't even need the guest expert. But I wanted y'all to hear it from a guest expert because I do like to stay in my own lane, okay, here on Ask an Agent. And I don't see that you guys have put any questions down there to ask us anyway. So that works because she's not on here yet. All right, here we go. Again, she's coming on. It's my superstar guest, Adrienne. Yes, there we are. Yes.
Girl. So how about I was on the computer. I had to call in the forces Diamond to say, Mom, you can't do it on the computer. You got to do it
you
on
gotta
the
be on your phone. Yes.
Girl, so give me a minute, because everybody's texting me saying, I can't see it if I'm not on. So hold on 1 second. I'm getting the phone together and plugging it in. Hey girl, hey girl. Can you see me good? Can you hear me good?
I can see you, I can hear you. Your camera's a little wobbly as you get it
Yeah,
together,
that's
but
what
that
I'm
is
fixing.
okay. We're gonna do our new intro because I'm gonna go back and when I put this
Okay.
for our YouTube, I'll cut this out. So again, everybody, welcome to Asking Agents. Yes, we are here live with Asking Agent. I've got my special guest, credit expert, Miss Adrienne Keys, who seems to still be trying to get set up for us.
Crazy.
This is my girl, y'all. We go way back to even before I was in real estate. We go back. We were in network marketing together. So we've had some ups and downs over the years. But let me tell you, God always sees us through. Does He not?
Yes, He does. All the time.
All the time. So again, to our audience, this doesn't work without your questions, okay?
That's
We
right.
are going to be talking about credit, but I'm going to go ahead and get it started because one thing is for sure that I know about with this is that a lot of people always want to know, and entrepreneurs, give me a second. I'm gonna get to you in just a second. Right now, I want to talk to my home buyers and my home sellers. You know, and they're always like, "Well, hey, what does my score need to be?" And a lot of times I tell them, you know, it really does vary from lender to lender. There are some lenders that take as low as 580, believe it or not. But we really want you to be above that 620 mark. But what do you tell people when they come to you and they say, hey, look, I'm trying to buy a house. What do I need to do?
You're talking to me.
Yep.
The question is to me.
It's
you know
to
what?
you, girl.
First thing to do is I don't send them straight to the mortgager. I said, okay, let's pull your credit report. Let's see what's on there. Let's see what we may have to, you know, work on. And then after we see where their score is and we can see what we need to work on, then of course, you know, I send them to you. You know, because we don't want them going to, you know, any contractors, you know, driving up to no new home sites and things like that.
Right.
They need to have a professional to make sure that, you know, they are, you know, going to be taken good care of.
Absolutely. So you said that you start out, you will pull their credit and you'll do a professional consultation with them. Like, what can they expect to get from that consultation?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the first thing they're going to get from that consultation is a free, I'm loving that hair. You know, I had to, you know, squeeze that in there. That is Antigua hair. Okay, so we're gonna try to just stay here.
Yeah, we're gonna try to stay on track.
We're gonna stay on track. Thank you, everybody, first of all, you know, for being here. So what I do is I have the client pull their credit report, which is not a soft inquiry, nor is it a hard inquiry. It's with a credit monitoring service. And once they pull it and send me their information, then I do a credit audit and a credit analysis report. That is an evaluation. I am just going to definitely break down everything that's on their credit report and tell them what is hindering them from getting the score that's needed, first of all, you know, to get out of the struggle, you know, because they got to get out of that struggle first, you know, having a low score, because having a low score puts you in a horrible position and you don't want to be there. And let me just say amen to the choir, because I've been there, and I know all of you listeners out there, you've been there before, and it's not a good place to be. So we want to get you out of that, you know, because we don't want you to be a subprime candidate. And that is just somebody who the credit bureaus know that they could, you know, hike up interest rates and sell you, because that's all they're doing. They're selling information and they're selling data information about you. So we want to make sure that, you know, we do that evaluation. We see, you know, it's like, you know, going to the doctor for a checkup. We want to see what's affecting you. What's affecting your score? And a lot of times, you know, people don't even realize that there's things on their credit report that are mixed or don't even belong to them. There's so many errors. So don't be afraid. That's the first thing. Do not be afraid, to pull your scores. If you have a pain in your body, and I'm a storyteller. I love telling and giving you, a story or something. But if you have a pain in your body and it is consistent and it's happening all the time, and you're afraid to go to the doctor, well, if you're afraid to go to the doctor, that pain is eventually going to get worse. And as my grandma would say, worse up and worse. And you don't want that for your credit. Let's fix it. Come to me, Miss Key's doctor, or anyone, out here. I tell people this, I'm just going to share a quick story. I got in this business because there was a credit repair imposter, and that's what I call them, an imposter who took my money and didn't repair my credit. And it was the same cycle over and over. So a lot of people have fear of, going to a credit repair, individual. I say, do your due diligence, find out, what that person is, doing, find out their clients. Majority of my clients are referrals, and it's referral after referral. I'm just getting used to this year going live, and I'm not consistent with it, but I know you have to, in these social media streets, show receipts. I'm 55 years old, and I ain't used to all of this, new stuff. I like the old way of refer her, refer your friend, refer your family, but I'm getting better. So there you go. That's the short version of the answer.
So you had an imposter is what you told us, and that's what made you get into the business. And I'm glad you told that, because normally I do start out saying, share your story, but I got a little distracted with the fumbling of the phone. So I'm glad you did let us know how you got into the industry, because a lot of people, like you said, you got to show your receipts. They want to know that you done helped some people, okay? And you have helped a lot of people. And so you do this analysis with them, right? You have them pull their credit report. You do this analysis with them. Is this initial analysis free?
It's free. And everybody else is charging. I'm free. Free.com. I give you a full, and let me tell you, it's very valuable. It's very educational. It breaks down, and I always say my consultations are 15 minutes. I don't think I've ever done a 15-minute consultation, because I always tell the individual, have a notebook and a pen. And because I'm really going to educate you, because I say this, if I have somebody that's hungry and keeps coming to me because they're hungry, and I just, keep feeding them, they're not going to learn how to go out and get, some food on their own. So we're going to take this to some biblical principles, because we church girls up in here.
That's right.
Just like Jesus did, he got those loaves, those fishes and the loaves, and he fed the folks. Now I'm going to take this, a different way and say, I'm not going to keep feeding you, a sandwich, fish sandwich every day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to go out and fish on your own. So when you get hungry, or let's change the analysis, when your credit is suffering and you need to know something, you don't have to come back to me. And a lot of people in the industry say to me, Adrienne, but that's residual. You can just keep coming back. No, I'm not doing my job if you keep coming back to me, with the same issue. So if I'm not showing you how to leverage your money and your credit, and how to definitely do not use your credit to be buying stuff, and then don't pay it off. And then also, getting into a position, sometimes, because of the lack of knowledge, people think because they have a 700 credit score that they can just go get anything. Well, that's not true, because what is manifesting on that credit report? What is the foundation of it? I tell people, you gotta have credit in order to have a high credit score. And you have to have different types of credit. You can't just have one credit card. You gotta have different types of credit card. And I'll take it all the way to the top and say you need 7 to 10 credit cards if you wanna be in the 8 to 850 credit score. Now, it doesn't mean, because most people think Adrienne, that's too much. That's too many credit cards. Well, listen, let me tell you this. It's too many credit cards for you if you don't know how to manage. But if I teach you how to take a credit card and get some rewards back, so, we can travel to Antigua free, get me?
Some frequent flyer miles.
Yes, because credit cards will give you that. Also, you can get credit cards that will give you cash back. So you can buy that Louis Vuitton bag after a year of getting that. So, there's a whole science and purpose to it all. And you need that range. That's what's going to balance you. 1 and 2 credit cards, you'll never be in the 800s if you have 1 and 2 or 3 credit cards, or just the same type of cards. You got to have revolving. You got to have installment, which means you got to have a mortgage.
Okay, so that means the questions are now starting to come, because as you tell me this info, my audience may not have questions, but honey, I am reading their minds and I have questions for them. Okay, so again, if y'all, this only works when you put the info in the chat, but if you don't want to put the info in the chat, trust and believe, I'm going to be asking some questions, okay?
Yeah.
So you said, if I expect to have an 800 credit score,
I
need to have 7 to 10 credit cards that I'm actively using, but still keeping a low balance, right?
Under 10%. So there's a key to that. Now, just because you have 7 to 10 credit cards don't mean you have to use all 7 to 10. So I tell people this, that we've been stuck at home, right? So everybody has Netflix, everybody has, Hulu. You can take 1 credit card and just put a subscription on that. See, your credit cards don't work if you don't use them. The algorithm of your numbers are not going to jump unless you use them, but you ain't got to use them. You get me? You can put a subscription on your credit card, a Netflix subscription, and then have it automatically, taken out every month. But what's that? Less than $10? You can do so. I'm not saying that I need you to go out and get 10, major, $20,000 credit cards and then go run them up. You can get store credit cards, you can get a gas credit card. You can get, installment, loans. That's with your credit union, with the line of credit. And then you can also, have a mortgage, I teach people how you can actually even take your personal credit and leverage it and flip it and become, an investor, or start buying property, because that's really where the wealth is.
Come on now. Yes. Yeah. And now that you flipped it just a little bit, I've got to jump over to my entrepreneurs that are on the line, because one of the things that they were really anxious to hear about, I'm about education, people, okay? I'm just not about real estate and home ownership. I'm about education, okay? And a lot of times I have business owners who want to buy homes, okay? And they're like, well, can I get it in my business name? Can I get some business credit is what I'm getting to. Like, how can I get business credit to start building it up so that then I can start buying the property in the business name?
Absolutely. So yes, you can. So you can absolutely build business credit and, and leverage your business credit to buy, real estate. Business credit is, there's such a myth about business credit that most people think that business credit is just going and applying and saying this is your business, and then it's associated with your social security number. But that's not business credit. Business credit is separate from your personal credit. Your personal credit is private. So I can't look into, Nicole's credit report unless she gives me access to it, because it's private information. But I can look into any corporation or business that Nicole has, because it's public information. Excuse me, did I say private information for personal credit? Okay, it's private information for your personal credit. No one can go into your credit, profile unless you give them the access. So that's private. Business credit is public information. So I can go right to the Secretary of State, type it right in the computer, go to the Secretary of State, get your information, and then I can go to NAV, and yes, I can pull your business credit profile and it'll let me know what your business credit scores are. Because just like you have a personal score, there's also a business, score. So the question that you was asking, can I buy a home under my business credit? Yes, but you have to establish it. You have to build it. Just like you have to build your personal credit if you want to buy a home. You can't buy a home from the code unless you have, you know, you have some personal credit, unless you got a good, nice profile. Same thing with business credit. If you don't have if you have not built it, then you don't have a score, and then you cannot, you know, can't get the house.
Now, my next question is a little bit back on the home buyer side of things. Okay.
Yeah, we can switch back and forth because they really go together for me.
Because ain't nobody putting any questions in here, and I told
I
y'all the live don't work without your questions. So
I see some questions, Nicole. I do. Somebody is asking.
Why don't I see the questions?
Somebody is asking about. So what about student loans? Student loans. I see student loans a couple of times on here. And then so I'll get to the next one. Okay. So you don't see that? You don't scroll down and see?
I don't. It's not. I don't know, and I don't know why it's not showing me. It usually shows me.
Okay. So.
Well, as long as you can see them, you're the expert.
I don't see the question. All I see is, so what about student loans? And that's from Erica. And then Kenya Dalton is saying student loans. Okay, so let's talk about student loans. So there are 5 key things that make up your credit scores. And one of them is your length of credit. Now, I can go over the 5 real quick, but I just want to address the student loans. So the 5 key things that affect your credit score, one of them is your length of credit. So if you have a student loan that you have had, like me, because I'm 55, it's probably, let's see, 83, that's 20-something years, right? Maybe 30-something years. That's good history. So a lot of people get into the mode of thinking, I got to remove these student loans because, my debt to ratio is really high, or, they're in default, you're not paying them. And I say, you know what, don't neglect your student loans. So we can work with you. It's, it's the simple, most people don't think that, they allow things to just pile up. Your student loans, we can negotiate to remove the late payments off your student loans, get you, in a payment plan structure. And I say this to anybody out there that's working, and they have a lot of, student loans on there, and they're working with, let's see, who, just tell me really quickly offhand, who would be a student loan provider? Navient. Okay. So if you're having a conversation with Navient, you're not going to tell Navient, because Navient is going to push you to pay the highest amount every month on a student loan. You don't have to do that. You can pay the minimum. And guess what the minimum is? $5. And all it's going to show is that you're paying that consecutively every month. And so as you're paying it every month, that's giving you that history. It's giving you your paying history on time. That's a very key thing. It is also giving you the type of, loan, which is, very good. So if you have student loans, don't be afraid to negotiate and work out a payment plan with them. So then, because you don't want to remove student loans off your credit report. You remove them, your score is going to drop drastically, because remember, there are 5 key things. And one of those key things is the length of how long you've had a particular credit, profile on your report. So I hope that answers. Please come back in the chat if you wanted to know something in specific. Yeah, Sally Mae too. Someone said Sally Mae. Yeah. So we can work with you. That ain't no issue, girl. We can get rid of those late payments. We don't want to remove, the account, and we can get it out of default and get you into a payment structure, because mortgagers, lenders look for your FICO score, looks for a lift of period of time of you paying your bills on time. So they like to see that.
Now, I want to add this about student loans, because when it comes to purchasing a home, Adrienne told you all she told you for your score, to help you
Right.
with your score, you can be paying $5. When it comes to buying a home, though, okay, you can be paying $5 all day long. They're going to count 1% of your student loan balance as your payment. Okay, if you don't have what is called an amortized payment. An amortized payment is a payment, okay, where if you pay the same thing over a flat 20 or 30 years, your loan would be paid off in that time, similar to a mortgage. A mortgage, you pay the same thing
Right.
every month, and over 30 years, it'll be paid off.
Right.
It's amortized, okay? So I want to make sure that you understand that. And I'll tell people from time to time, I can only speak about myself and my experience when I was purchasing my house back in 2020. I understand the pandemic changed things for people too, but the main thing that the student loan, the loan officer said was, hey, I need you to be, in an amortized payment. And I was like, okay, but that's higher than what I'm paying. Okay.
Right.
But guess what, y'all? Now, it's the grace of God that the pandemic took place, because my payments have been on hold. But all I did was call them up and be like, yeah, I thought I could make this $400 payment, and I really can't. Can you take me back down to $2? Or in your case of your example, $4. Whatever it is, you can do out, because they know the law of economics is up and down.
Absolutely.
You're gonna go up and down, and so they're gonna allow you to adjust your student loan payments throughout time. Those that wanted economic, where it's based on your finances. I forget what it's called, but that type of payment. But based on how much you make, you pay a certain amount. Well, if you lost your job, all you would do is call them and be like, hey, listen, I lost my job, and they're gonna change your payment.
They'll work with you.
They will work with you. First of all the creditors will work with you. Okay. So if you do lose your job, I'll tell you one thing that I always advise people get if you have credit cards. When you have credit cards, I advise people to pay the extra $1 or 72 cents or however much it is, because it's the amount that you're paying is based on the percentage of balance that you have on your card that covers you. If you lose your job, it will automatically make payments for you. That insurance that they offer you. I always recommend that.
If you get the insurance, that's optional. That's optional.
Yeah, it's optional. It is optional. I recommend you opt to get it. What do you say?
Well, you know what? See, that all depends what you're using your credit cards for. I don't really teach and educate people to use their credit cards to buy stuff. That is not the purpose of a credit card. You shouldn't really have balances weighing over. But if you do, or honestly, you shouldn't be buying stuff that you can't afford to pay for cash. That's the first thing. Yeah, that's the first thing. But I teach a whole nother principle about credit card debt, and and really how to get out of it. And then also, so you're just giving, when you do the insurance, you're just actually giving extra money to the credit card company. Now, will it help if you ever get in that position where you lose your job and you need that cushion? Then I'm gonna teach you something else. I'm gonna teach you become an entrepreneur, where if you lose that job, you don't need the cushion of that. So that extra money that's going in there, I teach a little bit different principles with that. But I can agree with you, to say that if somebody just has a 9-to-5 and they have a lot of credit card debt and they're afraid that they're not going to be able to handle something if something goes wrong, if they lose their job. But you got to remember this about this, because I had a client who did that insurance, right?
Okay.
And didn't realize, that they, once you sign into some of those insurance plans, you have to pay that thing every month, even if you don't have a balance. So he wound up getting a late payment. It was going to the table because he didn't pay. And that's why I say to people, listen, you know what? You can fix not ever being late by simply opening up a separate savings or checking account just for your credit cards. And if you got 4 credit cards and the minimum is $25, then always have $100 in there, right? Now I don't teach to pay minimum, because if you're paying minimum on your credit card, guess what? That minimum it's not going to the principal at all. It's going to the interest. And guess what? In credit cards, it's interest every day. So that thing is accumulating every day. There's a little bit of interest drawn on it every day. So when you go buy that McDonald's meal, or you go buy that Wendy's meal for $10 on that credit card, and you don't pay it off, and you keep just doing that, and then all of a sudden your $1,000 credit card is at $700, and when you look at it, it's all from food. Guess what? That $10 meal now became $50, became $100. Is it worth it? It's not worth it.
Is it worth it? And that's what we have to think about when we're talking about our credit and preparing for home ownership, preparing for buying a car. I want you guys to understand that credit affects you when you're buying a car. Like, it's people out here with 29% interest on a car payment. Your payment is $500 when it could be $3, because you're at 29 and 32% interest. You go to these buy here, pay here lots, and that's that subprime lending that Adrienne was speaking about earlier.
Yep. Or you go to CarMax and you think you're walking out of there, because they approved you, without having, a co-signer. Yeah, they approved you for 18, 20, 23%. Yeah. And so you're getting a $3,000, $5,000 vehicle, and you're going to be paying $15,000 for it. It's ridiculous. And then on top of that, you walk away leaving there with 30 inquiries, because they shopping you around like it's, it's just crazy.
And let me tell y'all something. You think that you can't tell them not to pull your credit 30 times? You can, okay? You can. And I ripped Lexus an entire new one when they tried to run me several times, and I told you one time, okay?
Right. But now, listen, but you can only tell them one time because you have excellent credit. But somebody go in there with a 500 credit score, 6 something, you can't tell them that, because you know why? They are shopping you. They're shopping you around. You're like a piece of meat, and they're just taking you, flinging you out to all of the people who may give you. And so that's why you got all of these, 30 inquiries. But let me say this, it's not just even getting a car that affects your credit, getting car insurance. If your credit score ain't good for car insurance, that's why you're paying so much in your car insurance, your life insurance. I'm telling you.
It affects so many areas of your life. Oh my God.
It does. And here's what I call this is my keys effects. I call it the quad effect, the keys quad effect, which is mental, physical, spiritual, and then financial. Those 4 things affect you when your money ain't right, your credit ain't right, you're struggling. I'm telling you, I've had clients that have money, plenty of money, millionaires. I work with millionaires who need inquiries taken off. And I've seen credit reports that I've never seen before. Let me tell you, millionaire credit reports have, what's the name of that store? Old Navy. I had a millionaire that needed me to remove some negative stuff off his personal profile. I've never seen this before. His store revolving credit cards were like 500,000. I'm saying to myself, who 50,000? And I'm like saying to myself, like his Target card, was who? Because they're millionaires and they have excellent, profile. and they just give them, same, for us, if you're a subprime candidate, all you are is just a person that the credit bureaus sell information. That's how they make money. The credit bureaus are just data mining companies that sell information about you. And they do not, let me say that clearly, they do not want negative items removed off your credit report, because now you're no longer a subprime candidate, so they can't make money off of you. So that's why it's so imperative anytime that you're doing any type of restoration, of clearing up of your credit, that you stay consistent with it, because they know that a person that will send a letter, maybe 1 month, and they send them back a trick letter and say whatever they want to say, they validate. I didn't ask you that, or you send something that doesn't make any sense. They send you back a crazy letter. That's because it's coming from a machine, an e-Oscar machine. That machine is just going to spit out whatever they think is in that letter. They're not even reading that letter. And the average consumer, this is why I teach, you shouldn't be average. Average people don't move. They don't move up the scale. They stay average. So the average consumer will send that one letter, get it back, and say, oh, I'll just wait for 7 years. And then 7 years come, and guess what? It still ain't off your credit report.
Why?
Why is it not off your credit card? Well, let's say if it's a collection account. And let's say tomorrow is the 7 years, and you get a phone call today, and they say, hello, Adrienne, this is such and such, collection agency. I see that you had a bill with such and such, and we just wanted to confirm. And you open up your mouth and you talk to them. You just tell them, I ain't never had no collection. I paid that. You just running your mouth, and you running your mouth. Well, they regenerate it. It goes right back on your credit report for another 7 years. Because you listen, if the creditors call you, hang up the phone. Why are you having a conversation with somebody, arguing with them, and, telling them this ain't me or this is that? They, even if it's not you, you should not even have a conversation with them. Tell them to cease and desist from calling you. And if they're calling you to confirm an address, you tell them, no, send it to the address that you have on file. Because if you're confirming an address with them, and you're saying, well, that's not my address, this is my address, boom, they got you. And then they can regenerate and put that thing right back on your credit, profile again.
Sneaky little sneakers.
Of course they are. They make money. It's where the money resides, honey. Credit bureaus, that's where it resides.
Well, here's another thing. A lot of mortgage people will say, hey, medical bills don't count. But that doesn't mean don't pay your medical bills and let them go to collections. I often tell people that you can call the medical people as soon as you've had the procedure, or as soon as the bill generates, and get on a payment plan right then. You don't have to wait till you're 90 days and 30 days behind.
That's right. That's right. Or stop ignoring. If you get a bill in the mail, don't ignore it. The bill is coming to you, and if you ignore a collection bill, now they have the right to put it on your credit report. But if you open up the letter and address it, then you can work out, some kind of payment. Now, if it's already gotten to the collection agency, sometimes you're not going to be able to work out with them not putting it on your credit report, right? Unless, you're going to pay it. Now, I say this, please do not pay a collection account without having a pay per deletion letter. And that's a negotiation letter that will say, if I pay this account, you're going to remove it off my credit report. Because this is what happens. You pay a collection account, it's a closed account, and guess what? Your score is going to go whoop, going to drop. And it's not going to be removed off your credit report. And guess what? It's going to stop you from going to that closing table. I see it all the time. I see it all the time where people have a car loan, and they figure, okay, I just got this stimulus money. I'm just going to go ahead and pay this car off, and you're supposed to be closing, in a couple of weeks. Go ahead and pay it off. Guess what? You ain't going to have a closing. Because when you pay off an account, now that account becomes closed. It is not generating those 5 key things, you know, on your, that affect your credit score. Someone just came in the chat and asked if I can review those 5 things. There's a lot of questions in here. I'm shocked you can't see these questions, girl. This is your show. You're supposed to be getting these questions.
This is the first time I've never not been able to see them.
Really?
I can see when people are joining and it's letting me wave to everybody, but it's not showing me anything in the comments. I posted a comment and it let me post, but it's not showing me anything. But you're giving good info. So just as you see questions, address them. Say, all right, we got a question. Let me answer that.
And okay, so let me do, I want to make sure that
I know what the 5 things are. And I was going to ask
I didn't want to
brought it back
skip,
up again, just tell us.
I didn't want to skip it. Go ahead, talk a minute, because so I can just see, I didn't want to skip.
So I know, and I'll tell you, I know, and Adrienne, correct me if I'm wrong on what the 5 things are, but one is credit length, okay? Which is your history, right?
Right.
We have the types of credit that you have, and we went over that earlier. You have your revolving credit, you know, like your car payment.
Right.
Those are the 3 major types of credit, right?
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm ready. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't skipping over somebody's question, but I'm just going to go ahead and answer this one, and I'm just going to pull up something real quick. Now, this is, you know, just a plug here too, that I do have this on my Instagram page, because one of the things that I really love to share with people is definitely, you know, some educational things that's going to keep them, you know, knowing what's, you know, going on, you know, with their credit. So there are 5 key things that make up your credit score. I wanted to show, I have this chart, and I love sharing this chart. And for some reason, I don't know, what is this technical stuff that's happening, you know, tonight, you know, ain't it crazy? It's like, okay.
You know what, honey? Somebody trying to stop this greatness from coming out, but this
It ain't gonna happen.
This
it ain't gonna happen.
You cannot stop this greatness.
We're gonna keep going forth and giving all this great information so we can
While
help
she's pulling
somebody.
that up, I do want to say this to people. If you're someone who don't pay your power bill.
Say that one more time.
I say, I do want to say this. If you're someone who don't pay your power bill, and then I stopped, you need to pay that. If you've got a power bill in collections, you need to pay that. Because when you buy a house, you're going to need power.
But listen, you're gonna pay it, but listen to me closely.
You froze up for a second. Say it again.
I froze.
Say it again.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, you need to pay it, but do not just call them and pay it. Because remember, you want to get this removed. So here's the key thing: if you're paying any collection debt, you want to make sure that the exchange is, I'm going to pay you because I know I owe you, but in exchange, I want you to release this off of my credit report. So they will do that, but you know, you need a letter to tell you that.
What if they say they won't do it?
No, they have to do it. That is, you know, listen, I go by.
That's when they call you, right?
Yeah.
If they say they won't do it, they need to call you.
Right. You know, they need to call me. And guess what? If they tell you they're not going to do it, I'll give you that letter free so you can send it to them. It's called a paper deletion letter. And what's really key about it is it's a negotiation. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, I don't want you to pay the collection company, because the collection company is going to take a percentage of what you're paying them. You really owe, who's the Charlotte, who's the
like Charlotte, Duke Power.
Duke Power. You owe Duke Power. You don't owe ABC Collection. Unless Duke Power is using ABC Collection to collect their money. But usually you can go directly to Duke Energy and say, hey, Duke Energy, listen, you know, I apologize. You know, I had you guys in the past, and I would like to work out, you know, a paper deletion. Now get this, your paper deletion has to be in full. You can't, it's not a payment plan. So if you owe $300 and we send this letter out to them, you got to pay you got to have the $300, because the certified check is going to go out to them with the letter, and then they're going to send you a letter back. And so legally, they have to remove it, because in the letter, it gives those terms. You have to remember this, that the Fair Credit Reporting Act law makes the credit bureaus adhere to compliance laws. So they have to adhere to laws given in letters. You know, they just can't do whatever they want to do. They will be fined. So say, for instance, if we do that paper deletion and they don't remove it, and we had it in the letter and they agreed to it because they cashed that certified check, and on that certified check, it will say that this is a paper deletion under agreement, da, 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 da. And if they cash that check and they do not remove it, then you can get a $1,000 fine against them, and they have to pay you $1,000. And so a lot of people, you know, don't know that. They just go ahead and pay it, and then they don't remove it, and they get scared. You know, well, what am I going to do? You know, don't run paying it until you get that letter. Okay, so we're ready to go over those 5 key things. So yeah. The 5 key things is simply this. If you got a pen and a piece of paper, this is really important, because a lot of consumers don't know this. But your payment history is 35% of your credit score, right? Now, 30. So if you write down 192.
Hang on a second. 35% because you cut out for a second.
Yeah. So I think notifications are coming through and it's cutting me out. So payment history, the number 1 key thing that affects your credit score is your payment history. That's 35% of your score. So that's about 192 points, 192 and a half points. So 192.50. So I want you to put 192. I don't know how to stop these notifications, because that's what's happening. Can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is your utilization. Your utilization is 30% of your credit score. So a lot of people see utilization as 30% of your credit score. They say, oh, so I keep my credit cards 30%. You keep your credit cards 30%, and guess what? Your scores are going to stay in the 6s and the low 7s. You'll never get to excellent. But if you keep them 10% and under, then you'll get to excellent. You'll get to the 750 to the 850. So that's 165 points. That's number 2. Number 2 is utilization. Number 3 is the credit age. That's 15% of your credit score. And that's about 82 and a half points, so 82.50. Number 4 is your mix of credit. We talked about that a little earlier. You got to have a mix. You got to have revolving. You know, anytime you're baking a cake, you can't just put milk and water in it. You got to have other ingredients to make it taste good. So in order for your credit to taste good, you got to have a mix of credit. That's 10%, and that's about 55 points. The last thing is new credit and inquiries. That's another 10%. That's 55 points. So those are the 5 things: payment history, utilization, credit age, the types the mix of credits, types of credit, and then inquiries and new credit. If you add all of those up, the 192.50, the 165, the 82.50, the 55, and the 55, that comes to 550 points. The average consumer, if they stay in that range, is only going to have 550 points. The score is only going to be 550. What? Isn't that crazy? So what can you do to make your scores go up higher? That's why you got to have more credit cards, because you're going to get more points for having more. So you can pay your bills every month on time, and that's still not enough to keep you in the 800, to keep you, I'm just giving a chart, to keep you in the excellent chart. You got to have all of those 5 things, all of those 5 ingredients have to melt into one to make that good red velvet cake like I love. So if you want that good cake, you got to have all 5 of those things, and you got to mix it well to get more points.
Okay. Wow.
I know.
I still can't believe it only comes to 550 though.
550. And guess what? That's the average consumer's credit report that, that's out there that has like one credit card. I have people who say, well, why is my score not going up? Because you ain't have no credit.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing. You don't have, that sounds horrible. You ain't got nothing. You don't have anything that is, giving that thing, it's like your battery going dead. You got to put some, the red and the green indicator on the battery in order for it to charge up. You got to put other things in there so it charges up so you can, so your score can be built.
Wow. Are y'all grasping these nuggets that she is dropping? I mean, goodness. She has just been giving it to us left and right. We learned the 5 things that affect credit. We learned how we can improve credit. We learned to do a pay for deletion. We've been learning a lot in the last 40 minutes or so here. And I hope that you guys have been putting your questions in there. Do you see any other questions that you didn't address?
There are some questions here. Let me see.
Okay.
Let's go through because I'm going to stop. I'm going to start at the top because I missed a whole lot of questions. And I apologize, guys. So let's go here. Well, hello to my sister. She's giving me a plug saying, so proud of you, sis. Love you. Someone asked this. Let's go here. They're saying that that is great to know, but they're saying Navient makes you pay the highest amount even if you're unemployed. So, Wanda.
And you know, I don't know that. I have Navient and I haven't been unemployed, so I can't address that at all.
Right. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to not say that that's not true, or not. But let me say this to you, because I agree with Nicole when it comes to, that you have to have, a certain, amount in order for the mortgagers to approve you, to get the loan. When I say for people who come to me who just have, there's a whole lot of things going on in their credit report, and they're saying, oh, I want to remove this, remove those student loans so that way, I'll be able to get approved for a mortgage. And I'm saying to them, you can negotiate, anything is negotiable with any of your creditors. You can negotiate what you can, what you can afford to pay. I've just had clients that have been in a position where they, they couldn't commit to a certain amount. And you don't want to commit. Here's where you go wrong with student loans. When you commit and you tell them, yeah, I can pay $400, a month, and then you don't pay the $400 and you get a late payment. Let me tell you about late payments on your credit report. If you are a subprime candidate, and that's if you in the lows and you get a late payment, it's only going to affect your score 40, 50 points. Go ahead and be
Holy.
Well, because let me say this, and then you're gonna say, okay. But if you have an excellent, good credit score, 850, 7s, and maybe like 680 or almost in the 7s, go ahead and get a late payment. And guess how much score you're gonna lose? You're gonna lose about 100 points.
Wow.
Because they want to drop you down to that subprime range. So you're already in the subprime when you get the late payment. So you ain't going to lose, 100 points. You may lose 50, but when you're up there, you're going to lose 100 because they want to knock you down really quickly. So that's why I say if you have student loans, don't just not take care of them, thinking that you don't pay them, you don't talk to them, they're just going to go away. You're going to keep occurring late payments and your score is going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping. Make an arrangement and don't, now if you are, you're making an arrangement so you have to close, in the next couple of months. And of course, I would agree that, you know, you're not going to just say, you know, $5, but there are some people who have had, you know, student loans for years, you know, and they really don't have a lot of debt with it. It's just that they just have not paid attention to it. They just ignored it. You don't want to ignore it. You want to work out, you know, a payment plan so the lender can see, you know, because here's what the lender is not going to be able to see. If you had that student loan for 20 years and they fix, you know, the late payments or whatever, they're not going to be able to go back and see, oh, well, they only paid $5, you know, for 10 years, or they're just going to see that that loan, you know, that creditor is in good standing. That's all they want to see. Now, your debt to ratio Nicole can talk more about that. Your debt to ratio may be affected if you have too much of a student, you know, debt. But you're going to get that history. You're going to get the payment history. You're going to get the credit age. You're going to get the mix of credit. Those are 3 things that are going to affect your credit score. So those are good.
Any other questions we got?
Oh, we got more questions. Yeah. I keep forgetting that I'm doing the questions. How's everybody doing out there? I hope everyone is doing good. Okay, so someone is asking, what is your advice on paying your monthly bills on your credit cards, for instance, cashback and rewards, then pay off the card at the end of the month? How does that affect your score? Oh, good question. Is this Keisha? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So Keisha, it sounds like you had a consultation with me, because I teach this in my consultation. So I have to give kudos to my children. You know, I'm proud of them. My son is 26 years old. He's a homeowner, and, you know, how do I teach, you know, other people how to get their credit in order, and my house ain't in order? But my daughter is 21 years old. And when she turned 18, and we built her credit. And one of the credit cards she got was a Discover card. Now, my daughter has a student credit Discover card, and she also has a business Discover credit card. The difference in her student card is she gets rewards back. And her rewards back, now don't quote me on this, but let's just say for purposes, it's $1 back for every $1,000 that Diamond spends on her Discover card. So you want to talk about rewards. So I taught Diamond that if she pays her insurance with her credit card, her Discover card every month, or she pays any of her bills with her Discover card, that Discover would give her rewards back. But if she paid her insurance or any other bill with her checking account, the bank is not going to give her any money back, will they? They're not. You know, you just go put the money in it. So let's just say Diamond started off with $1,000 in her Discover card. And that's to anyone out here. That's to you too, Keisha. Let's role play with you. You got $1,000 on your Discover card. And that's your credit line. You just got that credit card, that's your credit line. You have $500 in bills every month. What you can do is you can take the $500 out of your checking account that you was going to pay to those bills. Now, of course, you got to be paying, you know, bills that are going to accept, you know, credit cards. And
Credit cards, right?
Everybody accepts credit cards. There are housing complexes, you know, apartment complexes that take, you know, credit card payments today. Can you imagine that? If your rent is $1,300 and you're paying that with your credit card, and you getting $1 back for each $1,000 you spend, and after 1 year, that's what I'm bad with math, but let's just say that's $1,000 that you got back in rewards. So you're going to take that money that was in your checking account, and you're going to send that $500 to Discover. Discover ain't going to send you the $500 back. What's going to happen is when it's accredited to your Discover account, now you're going to have $1,500 credit line. And all you're going to do is just pay your bills real quick, those $500, you know, bills. And it's going to accumulate in the system as a rewards back. And what's going to continue to happen is you keep doing this, Discover is actually going to keep raising your credit
Your
line. And
credit
that's
limit.
what you want.
Mhm.
They're
Yep.
going to keep raising your credit line because they know, and it's cool. Okay, we see what she's doing, but they're not going to send you the money back unless you just, just send it there, and it just sits there. They may, say to you, they may send you a letter and say, you pay, something that, to your account, you got to use it. So you got to, pay it, send it to them, and then pay those bills, those five, bills that are accumulated to $500. So that's how you can get a lot of rewards back, cash back, and you can get mileage rewards. Both of my Chase cards give me great mileage rewards. I went to Aruba, me and my daughter, before the pandemic, the summer before, for my niece's wedding, and I think both of our tickets were like $30-something because of my mileage.
Nice.
That's flying real good.
Real good, honey.
Yeah.
And Aruba's nice. I've been 3 times, honey. Yes.
Yes.
Well, listen, we always want to be conscious of your time. We are at the 1 hour mark, but Adrienne, I always give my guests an opportunity to tell people how they can get in touch with you. How can they get in touch with you? What are your social media platforms? Let us know.
So many questions that we're missing here. I promise you guys, after the live, I am going to come in the inbox and I'm going to DM and answer these questions for you guys, because y'all have been so patient here. And to anybody that's on this live that needs a free consultation, I will also give a free consultation, to give you that evaluation. So you can go right to Facebook or Instagram, and it's Keys, Keys, the number 2, the letter A for Adrienne, N for Nancy, U for umbrella, and then the word life. That's how you find me on Instagram and Facebook. In my Instagram bio, there's a link tree, and I offer a lot of free ebooks, because education is real important to me. I want to, educate you and change your mindset about money and credit, and why it's so important to separate the two. And if I can give a quick testimony, I've been a serial entrepreneur for many, many years. And one of the things that I struggle with, and I had pitfalls with it, for many years, is that having a business, a brick and mortar business, and I was using my personal credit to fund my business, drawing from my 401k, even the money that I was making in the shop, I was using it to pay off credit card debt, because I was drowning. I was really going down that rabbit hole. And when I learned how to separate my personal credit from my business credit, it took the struggle away from me. I was able to sleep at night. My hair wasn't turning as gray as much. I wasn't gaining all the weight, because it's real important, entrepreneurs and business owners, that you separate the two. So when it comes time, it was one of the many reasons why it just took me, such a long time to, really, even think about becoming a homeowner, because my personal credit was so mixed with my business credit that I couldn't get approved for anything because my utilizations were high. So I'm passionate about teaching, entrepreneurs, and business owners how to structure their business so they're not drowning. So when it's time for you to go see Nicole to, buy a home, you're not going to be in a position where they're going to tell you no, and you don't have the money to pay down the credit card debt because the business, doesn't have the money to pay it off. Separate the two. You're going to get 5 times more money building business credit. And guess what? You can build it in a shorter period of time. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll see that in that link tree, I have so many free ebooks. I have DIY books for people who want to repair their own credit. I coach you and teach you how to do that. Coming this year, I have an academy where I'm going to be teaching folks how, if they want to start their own credit repair business, as well as teaching in the academy how to restore your own credit. So you can get all of those free things inside of my Instagram page. And I think if you even go to my Facebook, in my bio, and on Adrienne Keys, or in my Keys to a New Life business page, you'll see one of my landing pages that also has all of those books that you can, just click and purchase. But I'm always just, clients have my number. So if you become a client, with Keys to a New Life, you always, can reach out to me if you have questions. I always tell people, don't be afraid. You just never know. I have a lot of people that come to me and they can't even imagine that they can become a homeowner. And when I tell them that it is possible, your credit ain't that bad, but also know this, that is only one key component into getting, approved for, a mortgage. You got to have all those other key components too. And, that is definitely, filing your taxes and having those 2 years of tax, documents, and then of course, having a job and having enough money to get the house that you really want. That's why I say, guys, get that business going, become an entrepreneur too, so you can have that extra stream of income that can maybe getting, that $400,000, $300,000, $500,000 house. So I hope, that this has brought some value to you guys. I would love, again, to offer, that free consultation and evaluation, to, see where you're at. Just see where you're at, get that diagnosis, let's see, how, we get help. No obligation. When you get that evaluation, there's no obligation to be a part, of my program. Get it. And so then you'll know what you're dealing with, so when the time comes, because I really believe that, this is the year for, I have a coach and my coach tells me this all the time, what, there's so many biblical principles on how we can be wealthy and, obtain success and have a business. Having a business is really a God's design. He wants us to be, successful. So thank you, for being here, tonight and listening. We have been here for a while and I do appreciate you, Nicole. Love you, my sis, and guys, I have to plug her really quick because she's plugging me. And, there are a lot of realtors out here, and I'm sure a lot of them are, they're great and they're excellent. But what I have to say about, Nicole, it's not because, she's my sister friend, because, I'm a mom. When it was time for my son, to buy a house, I gave Nicole my baby and she took care of my baby. And she made sure that, everything was crossed, every I was dotted, and, and every question was answered. And, and I felt comfortable knowing that, she took good care of him. And I see that every day, when she pours, into her clients. You want to have somebody that is going to take the time, to speak to you, and to meet you, this was during COVID, so plugging you. So proud of you, with your own brokerage firm, it's your time, and, so happy for you. Can't wait to celebrate, in Antigua.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to celebrate Antigua either. So y'all, she's mentioning Antigua because, hunty, it is 25 days. Excuse me, it's 30 days to my birthday. 30 days to my birthday. And 24 days actually till we leave. So we are excited. We're super, super, super excited. Yeah. We're gonna have a good time. Anybody still want to go, you can join us. Inbox me. I'll send you the details. But Adrienne, again, thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time as well. This has been another fabulous episode of Ask an Agent. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye.
Ciao.